Donald Trump, former president and sentient copy of the Emperor's new clothes, has been indicted for a third time in what I'm branding the Dork Knight trilogy, strengthening the case that he might successfully avoid prison by spending the rest of his life in courtrooms. This time being charged for that whole will of the people, schmill of the people thing back in January 2021, a date that will live in infamy. Except for Mike Pence, who would love to go back to a time when people were at least talking about him. Wow, indicted by another grand jury. Or as I'm sure Fox News is reporting it, Trump technically receives new votes. I am impressed, even out of office, he is still creating jobs, though it's mostly for courtroom sketch artists. Trump received a target letter that he was about to be indicted, as opposed to the target letter I received asking me to stop walking around in a red tuxedo pretending I'm from corporate. Now, if like me, you're having trouble remembering which case we're on right now, remember this simple rhyme. First the Stormy Daniels affair, then the boxes he's storing there, next the tantrum he had in DC, followed by Georgia's electorate plea. Or if that's too complicated, hush money, moving dummy, acting scummy, fake chummy. Now this time he is being charged with 4 counts, and once again, I'm amazed there's a sophisticated legalese to describe his behavior. I would love to see some of his other controversies. 1 count of disenfranchisement of a low-pressure weather system, 1 count of dubious equivocation, and 900 counts of obstruction of arteries. Also included are 6 unnamed co-conspirators, though it's pretty clear who most of them are. It basically reads like Co-Conspirator 1, once known as America's co-conspirator, denied that he farted in the Oval Office by shouting "truth isn't truth," asked if his part in Borat will get him a SAG voucher, and then left early because he heard CVS had a sale on expired Just for Men. Now you'll remember the Capitol riot was a tourist visit, an Antifa false flag, or a valiant march for freedom, depending on what medication your conservative uncle is on at any given time. And the indictment very clearly lays out the case that Trump knew his claims were false, though the only way to get this to the people who need to hear it would be, I don't know, have Jason Aldean sing it? Try the guy with small hands. It's just frustrating because we already knew most of this from the January 6th investigation, which I agree was a distraction from all the illegal stuff he did before that day. I hate to be all emo, but I was calling for indictments before it was cool. The biggest piece of new information was that Pence took notes, which it didn't say, but have to be in some sort of weird cursive. You don't preface everything with the phrase, "let me be clear," if your handwriting is legible. The problem is no one who needs to read this is gonna read this. If only there were like some kind of hypothetical scenario where a bunch of Republicans were making the case that they'd be a better leader than him, than in some sort of, I don't know, campaign, if that's the right word. Gosh, wishful thinking. Seriously, how weak is this Republican field, losing to the guy with dozens of indictments who is quoted as calling somebody, quote, too honest? Even if Trump went to jail right now, he would have more effective messaging than the other candidates with just his prison phone call. They do need to be careful. Trying to win Trump's base without honestly talking about who he is, that requires twisting into the kind of pretzel that'll 100% get you sued by Auntie Anne's for copyright infringement. See you next time. Don't at me. Actually, please do. I need the exposure.